Welcome everyone to another edition of the Tubblogue Travelogue, where we catch up with Richard Tubb on his journeys all over the UK and around the world. Today, Richard is joined by our content marketing strategist, Pascal Fintoni. How are you today, gentlemen, and where do we find you?
We're very well.
Yes, yeah.
Very well indeed. Pascal and I jumped on the LNER train down from the northeast yesterday afternoon and arrived in London. And we're in London for two big shows, in fact, that are running concurrently opposite to each other. And they are, I'm at the B2B Marketing Expo, and Pascal?
I am at the Call and Contact Centre Expo.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're actually doing two things at the same time. That's wonderful.
We thought we'd split the responsibilities between the two. So Pascal is in the Call Centre Expo. I've mostly been in the B2B Marketing Expo, and tomorrow we'll probably swap and move around a little bit. But we've both had time to move around both of the expos a little bit. So yeah, there's another day of it tomorrow, but it's been a good first day.
Yeah. So we're literally a stone throw away from the London City Airport. And actually, when I was walking back from the venue, the Excel Centre, many people will know it, it was quite something when you walk near the footbridge and the aircraft is arriving on that runway just above your heads. On the subject of traveling, before we get going and talking about the expos, we need to actually go through again the travel arrangements. You were in charge, Richard Tubb.
I was.
And your track record is appalling about organising anything from finding the right restaurants. Do you remember?
I do.
You wanted to take us to a Thai restaurant all those years ago, ended up in a Turkish restaurant.
Well, it begins with a T. That's all I knew. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds very familiar. I was out with him in Manchester last week, and we were looking for, again, I think it was a Thai restaurant, and we went in completely the opposite direction. So yeah, I feel and understand your pain, Pascal.
Well, but clearly Stephen you and I are very slow learners because we keep putting him in charge of arrangement.
We keep doing it to ourselves, don't we?
The train journey, again, I'm a bit confused. So were we a couple? Is that what we had to do to get a discount?
We were, in a manner of speaking, in the same way that Stephen and I have been a couple before for the benefit of British Rail. So yeah, I bought us a two together rail card. Stephen, you and I have been a couple on the rail before, haven't we? With the
we have, and I've told my partner Dawn about this, and she's in absolute hysterics to think of me and you as a couple for travel purposes. So yeah,
there you go. It gives you a healthy discount on the fare, and so ours is a relationship of convenience. Nothing more, mon ami.
And to add to the rumours, we are also staying in the same hotel, not the same room, but the same hotel. So in my confusion and not being sure that whether there'd be a control about the status of our relationship, I held hands with Richard all the way from Newcastle to London, just to be sure that
it's best to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like you two are nicely relaxed and ready for some questions. So if I can go to you first, then, Richard, you went to the B2B Marketing Expo.
Yes.
What would you say were your highlights?
Well, the first highlight on a personal level, Stephen, I've got to say, came within 10 minutes of being through the door. So you'll both know every Tuesday I write an email to the MSP community called MSP Insights. And this week I had a bit of a rant in the email. And I suggested to the MSP community, I said, look, I'm on the way to the B2B Marketing Expo, and I fully expect to get there and to see zero IT companies. Now, every MSP complains, oh, marketing, I'm not very good at it, and sales and all that sort of stuff. But they seem to go to the same MSP events. And I know why, because it's comfortable and they learn things about managed services. But my email this week was encouraging people, hey, come on, get out of the office, go to some events that are not technical in nature and learn some of these business skills. Anyway, I sent the email out on Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. I walked into the B2B Marketing Expo, and within 10 minutes, somebody went, Richard. And I turned around and I didn't recognize the person who was there. And he says, oh, you won't know me. He said, but I'm here today because I read the MSP Insight email yesterday. It struck a chord to me, and I thought I'd better get out of the office and come and have a look around. So big thank you to Christopher Harry of Imtex, an MSP in the UK, for making my day and making me feel very welcome. And also, you get that realization as a content creator, there are people out there that read these emails, and it isn't just going out to deaf ears. So that was the start of my day, Stephen. But From there, I attended a few seminars, a few different presentations, as well as roaming around the halls and meeting people. The first presentation I saw, and I'm going to completely butcher her name, so she'll forgive me. Ironically, Pascal, she's a French-American lady. So I'm going to ask you, I would say Latin Connaught, but I believe that's probably incorrect. How would you pronounce it?
Well, the way you've written it, which is very badly written, by the way, everyone, Latin Kuno.
Latan, that was it. So Latan Connor, she's the chief marketing officer of a company called 6 Cents, the number 6 cents. And she came up on stage and she was talking about, rather than marketing being about doing more, and ever, adding to the pile of things that we've got to do, she actually said, what if we start using artificial intelligence to make our pipeline, our sales pipeline and marketing that much easier to deal with? And she went through a really interesting use of artificial intelligence with this 6 Cents tool. Now, it is an enterprise tool with enterprise pricing. So I can tell you, the tool will typically cost, a business between $70,000 and $120,000 a year. So not small change. But I was really intrigued from the perspective, she showed a case study of where they had generated 10% of their pipeline, their sales pipeline, using AI, and the huge success they had with it. The sort of things that they were doing, Stephen, was training the AI model by using their blog posts, their case studies, their testimonials, their social media, even videos and podcasts and things. And it was helping them to really harness AI and hone the message that AI was allowing them to put out to the market. I could wax on about this, but suffice to say, very expensive tool. But the reason I bring it up is there's going to be a lot of vendors listening to this who perhaps have got that type of budget who could use it. But even for managed service providers, I would check out 6 Cent, because even if you can't afford the tool, and there's few that will, should get the creative juices flowing about how artificial intelligence is coming to bear on the marketing market. So really interesting tool.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of where AI is going, and especially for anyone who does, online content creation, it's going to be the game changer for the future. That is the fact that it can almost predict for you what you need to be sending out. Of course, the actual work itself still needs to be done by a human being, but it's going to save a lot of time. That's absolutely brilliant. So there's some great things there, Richard. So if I can turn to you then, Pascal. So you didn't go to the B2B Marketing Expo. You went somewhere else today. What was that like?
So the Call and Contact Centre Expo is almost like a new universe for me. So my work is primarily on digital marketing, reputation management, and web presence. But it so happens that I've been mentoring and coaching a French company for several months now from my French office in Nantes in Brittany. And they were attending as an exhibitor. This was their very first foray into the UK market and their very first time in London. And you had the pleasure of meeting them as well, Richard. And so for me, there was almost something really great about the conclusion of my mentoring program, symbolized by them arriving in London and exhibiting and practicing everything they've been preparing, from the pitch deck to the demo in English, because of course it is a second language for them. I mean, a lot more than me. I've gone more or less native, as some people will keep reminding me. And what was interesting is being able to step back and observe your mentees just doing an amazing job and really flourishing. What was interesting about the Call and Contact Centre Expo, there was 3 themes really, but all in and around AI. And the question was, how can we provide a better customer experience? Number one, so not circumventing human interaction, but actually how can we use AI to facilitate it? I've got a couple of examples for you. The next thing is, how can team leaders support their call center agent even better? And finally, how can brand obviously provide a better service? And the call center industry is so layered. It's really sometimes difficult to get your head around, well, who's a call center operator, but who's the brand books the call center operations because of the white labeling and so on. But the conversation was around better customer experience and where can the tech support the desire to answer a query or to provide a support, technical support and help in a much better and more interesting way.
And should we give a shout out for Speaking Link actually on behalf of the managed service industry? Because I had the pleasure of, I was going to say bullying. I persuaded Cecile, who's her first trip to London, to record a quick video explaining what Speaking Link is. But for the benefit of our listeners, as MSPs, we've all experienced, and I know Steve, with your IT support background as well, you'll have experienced this. You know, when we're on the phone to a client, and perhaps we've remote desktoped in, or whatever it might be, and we say to the client, "Oh, make sure this cable's plugged in, or press this button, or do whatever it is," and they don't really understand. We have this all the time, don't we? IT technicians, and we're at that time of year as well, actually, where we become technical support for our friends and family. And I know, talking my mom or my aunt or whatever through, I'll plug this cable in and press this button, and they say, "This button, that I don't know, describe it to me." It's so frustrating, and you feel as though, oh, if I could just see what they can see, I would be able to do it. Now, Speaking Link, what it essentially does is it enables call center, help desk operatives, tech support people to send a short SMS or a WhatsApp message or an instant message, whatever it might be, to the end user on their cell phone, on their mobile phone. They press a button. There's no app installed or anything, and then it just gives the visual aspect to it. So it's a bit like a video call, but something a bit more than that. And then, of course, it makes it really easy for the technician, the engineer, the other end of the telephone, to visually talk a person through and say, "Oh, there's the cable you need to plug in," or "There's the fuse you need to replace," or whatever. So you can see it's got lots of applications in lots of different industries: engineering, household management, property. But I also see the application for managed service providers as well, because there's I've seen other tools around that purport to do something similar, but they've never really taken off. And I know Speaking Link is priced at a very keen level. So if you're an MSP listening to this, perhaps with a big service desk, or perhaps you regularly have tickets come in where you need to talk the end user through something, and that visual aspect would be good, Speaking Link is a great tool. So thank you for introducing me to them, Pascal.
Not at all. And, thank you for allowing them to practice their English with you. And I think it was great. And so for me, that was, that element. And then next was a demonstration actually from a company called Klaus, and they are from Estonia.
Estonia.
Yeah. So Richard, do you want to explain why I'm looking at you as I say the term Estonia?
Yeah. For the benefit of listeners, and this might be it's amusement to the team and some of the people I've told this, I'm actually a digital resident of Estonia. So yes, I've got the card and everything. I can do business in Estonia and so much. Well, what does that mean? Why I do it? Well, in reality, I did it as a bit of a wheeze because, but there is a serious side to it. Estonia are the most digitally advanced country in the world. Now, for those of you perhaps like me had only ever heard of Estonia from the Eurovision Song Contest, this might come as a bit of a shock, but Estonia again is a great example. Even if you're not interested in doing business there, go and check out what they're doing in Estonia, because they really are at the cutting edge of digital government, digital business, digital taxes, digital ID. They really know their stuff. So yeah, I waded in there and visited the Estonian embassy in London, became an Estonian digital resident. But enough about Estonia. Tell us about the tool.
Oh, listen. So literally, they were interested in Speaking Link and the video assistance, because what they do, and a company called Klaus, and I met Lisana, who is from Estonia. They use AI to monitor the conversation and the emotional kind of levels of the conversation, so they can detect when the caller, the client needing help, is essentially a little stressed, a little impatient, or confused, and so on. And what they can do is use that as learning, so that managers can go back and see that conversation and the way in which the other person was talking and the way in which they was more emotionally charged. Shall we try and use those words instead, or shall we try and guide the conversation that way, so that in future, when there's a call of a similar nature and a similarly emotionally kind of charged, we can provide an even better service? And what they love is the idea then, and the video can also accompany them with perhaps facial expressions and so on. So it's been just fascinating to see that, you know, the desire for people to be part of this very wide and sometimes obscure ecosystem, but it's all designed for the callers to have a better experience.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, all of that there is a lot to unpack there, and we don't really have the time. But I mean, I just want to pick up on that fact that, you know, there is a lot of digital application that's kind of AI backed that can do a lot to better understand human interactions. I recently did an article about some of these things, and for anyone that has autism, just changing the way that you speak and your phrasing can have a big impact, because the way that people on the spectrum, you know, kind of communicate is it's a lot different, but it's easily understood the more we've kind of put the inputs into these large language models and things to actually identify patterns. And I think that's fascinating. And Richard, if the Estonian Tourist Board have not been in touch yet, I think they should be, because I think that was a fantastic advertisement for the country there. Right, I'm just going to move on to my next question. So Richard, you mentioned that you were also going to hopefully catch up with your friend Mike Alton from Agora Pulse. Did you manage to do that yet, or?
So for the benefit of listeners, Agora Pulse is our tool, social media tool of choice within Team Tubb. We recommend it very, very highly because long-time listeners to the show will know I'm a great fan of Inbox Zero for email, and I'm also a great fan of Inbox Zero for social media. So we use Agora Pulse to not only to schedule posts, the team and I, to social media, but I personally use it and the team use it to respond to messages. So it pulls in all of the tweets that are aimed at us, all of the LinkedIn messages, Facebook, YouTube, everything there. So if somebody responds to us, instead of having to go to each individual platform, I can respond directly to that person from a single interface. So it works really well. And I've got Mike Alton at Agora Pulse to thank me for introducing me to the tool. He's been a great friend to us. And so, yeah, I was hoping to catch up with Mike today. I'm actually going out for dinner with Mike and the Agora Pulse team tomorrow evening. But let me tell you, Agora Pulse, they are front and center at this event. They're right next to the keynote auditorium. And Mike had just a line of people ready to speak to him and the Agora Pulse people at all points. So I've not actually had a full-blown conversation with Mike yet, Steve. But I did tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm not being ignorant. Here I am. Looking forward to having dinner with you tomorrow night. But just shows the power of these type of events. People from all industries come to the B2B Marketing Expo and the Call Centre Expo. And there's also a sales aspect. There's a sales and seminars going on as well. But people from all types of industries coming to find all of the top tech. And again, I don't want to, hit people over the head and keep laboring this point, but why are we here? Why are Pascal and I here? Why should MSPs be here? It's not that all the tech is specific to the MSP industry. No, but it opens your eyes to what's going on in the world, what's going on at the cutting edge of sales, tech, of marketing tech, of call center tech. And of course, all of these things have got their distant cousins of the MSP industry. So by coming here and listening to what's going on, meeting the smartest people in those specific industries, you just come away full of inspiration and ideas and can see, I can see where the managed service industry is going over the next few years, not just for marketing, but for the help desk aspect of it and that. So it's been a really fascinating day. I want to give a shout out as well, if I can, Stephen. Another seminar I went to on the subject of being, humanizing business. There was a chap called Harrison Cantel. Never heard him speak before, but my goodness, he blew away the room. He did a presentation about getting involved with video for marketing, video for customer service. And all three of us here will know that jumping in front of a camera for the first time can be absolutely nerve-wracking. In fact, you and I, Stephen, I know you're catching up on me very, very fast with the video content. But when I spoke to you the first time about doing Tubbservatory videos and things like that, you'd say, "Oh, it's so frustrating. I get so far through the video and then I make a mistake and I restart it." And do you remember what I said to you, Stephen? I was like, "Just leave the camera running. Just let Mark, our video editor. It's more natural. It's more human. They can edit it out." So Harrison's big message to the audience was just press record. Doesn't matter if you flub, doesn't matter if you make mistakes. And he actually brought up a really interesting psychological point, which was every time you press stop and then press start again on the recording, is sending a message to your brain that I've messed up. And so he said, just leave it recording, hit record, leave it recording, talk to the camera, go for it. And the more you do it, the more consistency you build, the better you'll become. And I think all three of us here can certainly speak to that point, can't we?
And what was interesting, back to your point about the event itself. So for me, it's been a while since I've been to an expo. We had COVID then, working remotely for a while. So when you walk in and you've got this experience, which is almost, for me, was almost moving, of people delighted to be in each other's company to begin with, and the truly international feel. I mean, in the space of a day, I must have met pretty much people from every single continent short of Antarctica. We had Eastern Europe, Central Europe, we had Central Africa, we had Australia, we had the Americas, all of them. We had India, the Middle East. They were all present with scenarios, people working oil and gas, people working logistics, people working in IT, people working public services. And you spend a day discussing their wants and needs and make those correlations between what you know, who you know. And, it really creates this element of, I leave away thinking, what can I take away as lessons learned or as kind of exemplar that would work in my industry? Because that's what you need. If you want to be different, if you want to have a competitive edge, you have to look at other sectors.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and you also need to find a way of actually standing out. And I think that you do find that if you're in a truly international conference or expo, you do get people from all over the world there, and they have ideas that you may not have thought of, because things that they do are just more popular there, but they are things that we could take on board and actually use and actually help differentiate ourselves from the competition. So that's a very good point. Pascal, I want to ask you, so you haven't been to the B2B Expo yet. Is there any speaker or any technology vendor that you're excited about seeing tomorrow?
So tomorrow, yes, I'm going to find, a carve out. So what I tend to do with the event, which I think could be interesting for others, I give myself targets, but I give myself a target of one. So for me, the target of one talk, one tech, and one connection that can make a difference to my business and by extension to my customers. So the one talk that I've earmarked for tomorrow, interestingly, is around personal brand. And this idea of everyone working in the organization now is instrumental in supporting the marketing and sales function. So I still find, surprisingly, and I know how you feel, Richard, that organization will say, well, that's not, I don't work in marketing and sales, therefore I don't have to have, let's say, a decent LinkedIn profile. I don't have to have my name against an article. I don't have to be on the podcast and the video. And those boundaries are getting removed and more blurred than ever. Case in point, the speaker link, they had really two people who do not qualify themselves as part of sales and marketing. You met the CEO and someone that is working more in the kind of PR and comm side. And here they were presenting, pitching, and negotiating deals on occasion. And I think for me, the personal branding, I'm looking, Steve, for a way to add to my argument for and business case. So I need to hear a different way of explaining the benefits of personal branding to support my own activities.
Yeah, because I think sometimes we get in our own heads and we tend to repeat the same things a lot, but it's not that that's wrong. The message there is correct. It's just the way that we deliver that message does get repetitive, and sometimes we need to think about other ways of getting that across. Now I'm going to change tack a bit here, a little bit. Now I know that when you two are together, you cannot resist a delicious pudding.
Oh.
So did you manage to find yourself something sweet to satisfy your sweet cravings?
Dare we talk about last night's pudding?
I saw the picture, and I am definitely envious.
So I should explain. They were having a bit of a nightmare, weren't they, Pascal? The kitchen at the hotel where we're staying at. We won't name who they are, but they were very well natured and that. But people. Tempers were getting frayed because people were waiting upwards of 90 minutes for their main course to come out. We were lucky. We got our food after about 25 minutes, I think it was. And a glass of wine helped that go down well and helped our temperament as well.
For all, obviously, I criticised Richard earlier about his poor organisational skill. He's got like a sixth sense, literally, about spotting when things are not going to go so well. So I was queuing up just for the drinks, like, because we're civilized, really. And he just went, I think you should order the food now. He just could spot that something not going to go well. And happily, we got served pretty sharpish.
We did.
But after that, it was just chaos.
It was chaos. And we had to wait a while for our dessert to come out. However, I think they sensed the way the mood in the room was going. And my goodness. So when they did send the dessert out, they went well overboard with the portion size. So I had a knickerbocker glory, which you were a bit. So is this not a French thing, a knickerbocker glory?
I thought it was some kind of cartoon or something from TV, like Ballamori or whatever. I was just a bit confused by the phonetics, really.
It was a monstrous creation of butterscotch ice cream and chewy bits and cream and everything. I'm getting really hungry. I might go down and have another one later on. And what did you have?
I can't resist a good sticky toffee pudding. And my goodness, the portion was just like the size of a small book. It was just, and I didn't finish it, did I?
No, and as a good friend, you can obviously, listeners can hear the camaraderie between us, and people must know that I'm an incredibly good friend at this point. So I leaned in, I said, Pascal, it looks like you're struggling. Allow me to ease your burden and eat some of that sticky toffee pudding as well. So I would do it again. I'd do it for either of you two.
I mean, these bowls, they were the size. I mean, they look like something you could cook a chicken in. They were huge. So how he managed to do 1.5, I don't know where he puts it, but fantastic. Now, regular listeners of the Travelogue will know that it's not complete without a quiz, and I have not let you down, gentlemen. I have one here for you to test your marketing knowledge with my ads slogan quiz. So, so who would like to go first, or shall we flip a coin?
Flip the coin. Have you got a coin? Or have you got the D20?
I've got a coin here. So, right, it's a
roll a D20. Yeah,
it's a. I think this is from Thailand. Actually,
heads.
So heads or temples, because
okay.
You can have temples then.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. And it's temples. So Pascal, you go first.
I'm not convinced that the flipping was, to the usual, regular standards. There, that was.
It's flipped at least 5 times. I think you'll find. Right. So, can you name the brand or company that this slogan relates to? And that it goes, "What's in your wallet?"
I would prefer film strap lines or log lines. What's in your wallet? I do not know.
Richard, you know? Yeah.
I don't know it, but I'm gonna. What's in your wallet? Is it maybe for Visa? No, American Express.
You're very close. It's for Capital One. So,
yes.
Can I get half a point at least?
Yes, I stumped you both. Fantastic. So the next one goes to you, Richard. And it's this: obey your thirst. It's a big.
I want to say Lucozade, but I'm also tempted to say Sprite. I'm going to
go for.
I'm going to go with
poker face. I'm
going to go with Sprite.
Correct. Sprite is the answer. So it's 1-0.
I don't drink soft drinks, so that's pretty good going there.
Yeah. So next one for you, Pascal. Who describes himself as the world's local bank?
HSBC.
Well done. HSBC is the answer. Oh, it's 1-1. It's getting.
Well, actually, I think you'll find it's 1.5 to me at the moment. Surely,
well,
I'm not.
If we're gonna do it like that,
if there's a tie, I'm going to pull that half point in.
We'll get this right, and you will you will get the lead here, Richard. So think different.
Oh,
I want to say.
I'm
I
gonna-
want to.
I'm
I was
gonna-
going to say IBM, but isn't it?
I'm going to take that point off him.
Oh my God, this is a tech one, isn't it? So, I'm going to.
Maybe.
So I'm torn between.
He doesn't
I'm
know
torn
too late.
between Lenovo, IBM, and Intel. I'm going to go Intel.
No, Pascal, do you know the answer?
Apple.
Apple is correct. There we go.
So embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
So whoever loses buy the dessert tonight.
Oh, okay.
So this one's for you, Pascal. Buy it, sell it, love it. Whose slogan is that?
I'm gonna say eBay.
eBay is correct. He's inched ahead. So this one to draw then, Richard. So no more Mr. Nice Baby.
No more Mr. Nice Baby. I've never heard that. No more Mr. Nice Baby. What baby?
Oh, I think I know.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hand it across to the Frenchman then.
No.
Go on.
No.
Pascal,
So
no more Mr. Nice Baby. Whose slogan is that?
Is it a washing up liquid company?
Yes. A bit more.
Fairy Liquid.
Fairy Liquid is correct.
Oh, what?
Pascal wins.
I'm distraught. I'm undone.
Well done. So yeah, well, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. I want to thank you, Richard, and thank you, Pascal, for your feedback there on how it's going at the conferences that you're both at, and I wish you a very good time at the other conferences that you're going to swap for tomorrow. And we'll catch you on your travels next time.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you,
Pascal,
Stephen.
I'm off to buy you a dessert now, aren't I? So
take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.
Hey team, this is Richard again. Just one more thing before you take off, and that is MSP Insights. Now, every Tuesday, I share my thoughts on the business of IT with you, the managed service community. Thousands of managed service providers already subscribe to MSP Insights. It's easy to sign up, easy to cancel. MSP Insights is basically a short email from me every Tuesday without fail with advice on growing your IT business, plus cool resources I've found, discovered, or started exploring that week. It's kind of like my diary of cool things, and often includes articles or books I've read, tools I've discovered, and events I think you'd be interested in, often sent to me by my friends and Tubb Talk podcast guests. So, if that sounds fun, a short tiny bite of MSP goodness every Tuesday, and you'd like to try it out, just go to go.tubb.co/Tuesday. That's go.tubb.co/Tuesday. Drop in your email and you'll get the very next one. Thanks for listening.